where we would be continuing our discussion with Brigadier Steve Ismail. Last time we talked about L&D. No, it is not learning and development. We talked about leadership and discovery. And Brigadier Ismail taught us and he told us about his journey where there were a lot of hardships and how through self-awareness, self-actualization and the leadership quality he was able to act with courage and conviction there, and the same values he's passing on to the students in today's scenario of yours where this kind of self-awareness actually helped you make a difficult decision or a courageous decision that you can call.
I suppose courage is of many kinds, but like I always like to say that courage is not the absence of fear, but courage is the ability to overcome fear.
Now when we see today's youth or young adults that we call, we say that they don't take ownership or responsibility because of the fear of failure. What if I fail? Right? How can we change that kind of a mindset from that fixed mindset to growth mindset that we were talking about? Okay, this is not my shortcoming. This is one area where I can actually grow. Let me try it. How do we make that shift?
Again, I go back to what I started by saying that the first and foremost activity that you have to do is you have to interrogate your values. Because it's like a question. A mathematical question which says x plus y plus z is equal to w. There is no constant in this. Now what do? You keep thinking of everything in terms of this or in terms of that.
So is this the realization that helps the students become a leader in the coming years?
Yes, indeed, because a leader again is one who serves. Like a lot of people again, they have a misconception that leader is a privileged position. But leader is not about rights and position and authority. Leader is about responsibility.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Unmute Yourself, where we would be continuing our discussion with Brigadier Steve Ismail. Last time we talked about L&D. No, it is not learning and development. We talked about leadership and discovery. And Brigadier Ismail taught us and he told us about his journey where there were a lot of hardships and how through self-awareness, self-actualization and the leadership quality, he was able to act with courage and conviction there, and the same values he's passing on to the students in today's scenario. So taking our conversation further, let's welcome Brigadier Ismail once again here. Hi sir.
Thank you very much.
So let's continue our discussion which we had last time, and we left our audience with 3 words when we talk about, which was confidence, courage and conviction, which are not just words but something way more than that, and we are going to explore that only in today's episode. So the very first question comes here that when we talk about these 3 words, today's students are really looking forward to the external validation. And when I'm talking about external validation, it is just not limited to the students. We as adults also in the corporate or any scenario, हमें लगता है बाहर वाले ने अगर तारीफ कर दी तो ही चीज अच्छी है. I think वो अंदर ढूंढने की बजाय we are always looking at externally. How can you help students find these quality inside themselves rather than the external validation?
So I believe that students, when we are talking again now over here, we're talking about adolescents, we're talking about young adults. And this is a time of life when there is a lot of change going on. And it is a roller coaster period of the life for any person when they are growing up, going through puberty, going through adolescence. The moment they start getting used to what they are, it's changing. They're growing up so fast. And there's so much conflicting opinion, information, influences, peer group, peer pressure, online, offline. There's just so much that they have to navigate. So first and foremost, मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा कि किसी भी young adult को confidence का अभाव महसूस करना, ये कोई आश्चर्यजनक बात नहीं है.
Okay.
It is very natural. And they should not feel that I am the only one. कभी कभी ऐसा लगता है कि मैं ही एक हूँ जिसको confidence की कमी है. बाकी everybody around me has got it perfectly figured out and everybody is doing perfectly fine. I am the only one who is not somehow managing things. So my dear young people, first and foremost, this is not the way it is. Every one of you is handling a lot of issues. And each one of you is grappling with a lot of change, a lot of challenges. and it is only natural to feel underconfident. But the good news is that we can work on it. So coming on to what exactly, confidence is, when we're talking about confidence. Now, confidence should not be confused with overconfidence.
Correct.
And there are a lot of reasons in our society, in our families, in our homes. People live from a place of fear. Now, what do I mean by living from a place of fear? लोग इस तरीके से उनको सोच उनकी होती है, पेरेंट्स का, टीचर्स का, समाज का, कि हर जगह जो है हर चीज की कमी है. आपको लेना है तो आपको आगे निकलना है. आप आगे नहीं निकले तो आप रह जाओगे, आप छूट जाओगे, आपको मिलेगा नहीं. So this is living from fear. And this is something which the coaching industries and the commercial interests, they are the only ones who gain from creating this kind of an environment. Unfortunately, the education system also at times, though intention is otherwise, but the actual manner in which exams are conducted in schools and competitive exams, it's all black and white, right and wrong answer. Whereas in life, nobody is going to ask you the answer to anything. You have to learn to ask the right questions.
Correct.
So similarly, when you are growing up, while you have to handle your school curriculum, you have to handle your exams and your subjects, you have to play the game as per the rules. But remember that you should first examine what your core values are. Now, I would like to give an example by using the hand over here. There's a God-given limb. We've all got 2 of them, got 5 fingers. Now, what anchors it to the body is this wrist. This is a core values. These are your values. Now, values are not nice sounding words like integrity, empathy, honesty, courage, and all this. Anybody can write these words on a piece of paper. Values are something which either excite you when they are fulfilled or cause you great anxiety when they are not fulfilled. So if your emotions are not involved, then you are fooling yourself. That is not your value. So firstly, I would say the start point of your journey of becoming a more confident and capable individual as you go ahead, the first point is for you to interrogate your values. Values is not a civics class. If somebody lists out 15 qualities. It is for you to actually ask, what do I believe in my core? It is not a question you can answer in one sitting. It will take a long time. It will take a lot of introspection, a lot of time. But you have to come down to understanding that these are the few things that are very important to me. And you have to be honest to yourself. Don't have to tell anybody about it. And when you ask yourself, you will find that you are falling short in every one, because each one of us falls far short of the ideal.
True.
So do not look at anyone thinking that they are perfect. We are all far from perfect.
True.
So when you start understanding what your values are, then you start working on being aligned, your effort to be aligned with your values. For example, mother value is integrity. Now, so if the teacher walks out of the class during a quiz test, if you cheat, if you ask left and right questions, you are not a person of integrity. You may like to think you are, but you are not. So you need to ask yourself, is it really important for me to get these few extra marks? Or is it important for me to develop the ability to not need to ask those questions? That is confidence. When you develop yourself to the point where you feel you are enough. And when will you feel you're enough? When you align it to something within yourself and not something outside yourself. Because the moment you start aligning yourself to outside yourself, then you start comparing yourself to things which you do not even have a full picture of. You are just seeing a small snapshot of somebody else's
Correct.
life. You have no idea what they're going through, and they look as if they have it all perfect. Another thing, the last thing I would like to say on confidence is we should have what is called a growth mindset. There's something called a fixed mindset and growth mindset. A fixed mindset believes in talent. She is good in maths. He is good at basketball. Growth mindset believes in effort. So, if you are not good at something, the growth mindset believes that you can become good at it by putting in effort. And that is where your confidence grows, when you enter into areas that you are not good, but you put in effort, you put your commitment, and you grow into your ability of being better at that thing. So please select things that you are not good at today. They are the laboratory where your confidence will be built. The problem is, in our schools and in our families, we keep perpetuating talent. Parents, teachers, oh, she's a very good singer, so she keeps singing. Oh, he's very good at debating, so he keeps debating. Oh, he's very good in robotics, so he keeps doing robotics. It's not going to make him grow. Get into things you're not good at.
Correct.
I was heading, in the army, I was heading a women's teachers training college for the National Cadet Corps, for the NCC. And in the beginning, we used to take a survey, personal information questionnaire. What is your interest? What is your hobbies and all? And people would write the game, and we would say, would write badminton. I would put them into volleyball. They would write table tennis. I'll put them into basketball. And then on the first day, and these were all teachers and professors from colleges and schools all over India. And they would say, Sir, मैंने तो badminton लिखा था, मेरा नाम volleyball में है. So I said, आपका नाम volleyball में इसलिए है क्योंकि आपने badminton लिखा था. So confidence will grow when you step out of what you are confident. It's like a person who doesn't know how to swim. When they are in the water, if you give them a rubber tube, they will just hang on to the rubber tube. They're not willing to let go. So if you are only going into the arenas where you are looking good, where you're performing well, where everybody is clapping for you, it's like just clutching onto those things, and you will not grow in confidence. So please let go of those rubber tubes. Please get into things that you are not good at. Stretch yourself. Be willing to learn. And being willing to learn means being willing to fail.
That's the important part, being willing to fail.
Because you cannot learn anything without failing.
Correct.
You learn riding a bicycle if you learn to ride a bicycle, or you learn to do skating, or you learn to swim. You can read all the books in the world about swimming. You can watch all the videos in the world about swimming. You will not learn how to swim till you get into the water, overcome your fear, and struggle a bit, and gradually attain the ability to swim.
Wow. Correct. And this all comes when one is aware, okay, fine, this is my shortcoming, and here I am ready to put in more effort to be able to overcome that, right?
I wouldn't even call it a shortcoming. I'd call it, this is my arena for growth.
Perfect. I think that is one area where we would want...
Not shortcoming. There are no shortcomings. There are arenas or opportunities for growth.
Yeah. So would you be able to share a personal story of yours where this kind of self-awareness actually helped you make a difficult decision or a courageous decision that you can call?
Well, I suppose courage is of many kinds, but like I always like to say, that courage is not the absence of fear, but courage is the ability to overcome fear. So I think I can give one of the incidents from my younger life. When I was maybe 14, 15 years old, I was in a boarding school in Rashtriya Indian Military College in Dehradun, where there's a lot of emphasis on sports and physical things apart from the academics and all. And I was very weak. Physically, I was small, I was weak, I was not really much into sports or anything. And I remember once the entire school clapped for me and two others. And they clapped not because we did something very great. They clapped because we came in the inter-house cross-country race. We came last.
Okay.
And the entire school from the principal down was waiting for us, because then the prize distribution and other things had to happen, and they were waiting for the last runners to come, and the whole school clapped in a very derisory way, with very slow tempo, and I will never forget that. And from there, it's not that suddenly overnight there was a eureka moment and suddenly I started changing. But gradually, when I look back, I started developing my abilities after that. And I reached a point where many years later, this was when I was 15, so maybe when I was about 21, it was just 6 years later. I was by that time through the National Defence Academy, through the Indian Military Academy. I had joined the army. Was on the commando course in Belgaum. And of course, it transitioned to that point where I topped my commando course. So it was a 35-day course with no Sunday, no Monday, no day, no night.
Wow.
So from being that boy for whom the entire school clapped in that very slow and
Finally,
not at all a complimentary way of clapping.
Correct.
To 6 years later, topping my commando course, despite the fact that I had a severe knee injury halfway through the course, I consider that was something which I transitioned myself.
Wow.
And I have never looked back. I have always been physically fit. And I think today in the university, there is, I do not want to boast, but I don't think there is any student on the campus who can run with me for a long run.
I'm sure of that. Seeing your routine and your morning drills and everything.
Some of them hearing this may say, no, I would like to, but I would like to caution them that when I say long run, I mean more than 25 kilometers.
So the challenge is on for any of the student. If you want to take it, bring it on. That's what he's saying. Correct. And that would be quite a competition. I can warn you about that. So you said that there are no shortcomings. So being aware of your shortcomings instead of shortcoming, we can replace it by opportunity for growth. Now, when we see today's youth or young adults that we call, we say that they don't take ownership or responsibility because of the fear of failure. What if I fail? Right? How can we change that kind of a mindset from that fixed mindset to growth mindset that we were talking about? Okay, this is not my shortcoming. This is one area where I can actually grow. Let me try it. How do we make that shift?
Again, I go back to what I started by saying, that the first and foremost activity that you have to do is you have to interrogate your values. Because it's like a question, a mathematical question which says x plus y plus z is equal to w. There is no constant in this. Now, what do? You keep thinking of everything in terms of this or in terms of that.
Correct.
Values are the constant in our lives, provided we interrogate them and provided we spend enough time working on them. Most of us have never done this, even adults. We sort of think that just as a child learns how to walk without really having to go to a special walking school, and a child learns how to speak just by overhearing, so also a child will learn how to live and be a human being. It doesn't work like that. So when you interrogate your values, what I mean by that is, because many people do not understand, they think values is some theoretical concept taught in class 8th in civics or something. I mean, interrogate what is the identity you aspire to have. So for example, if you are looking at going into work in any profession, any line of work, imagine that you tell your superior, you have got an offer from somewhere else, and you tell your superior, here is my resignation, I'm leaving. Now there are two scenarios. One, the superior looks up at you and says, okay, best of luck, all the best. And the other, the superior says, hey, wait a minute. Can we talk about this? Why do you want to leave? Is there something we can do differently? Now tell me, which of these individuals would you like to be? I'm sure anybody will say, I would like to be the second one.
Second one.
Now, the question about interrogating your identity means, what does it take for you to become that second person? Where when you say you want to leave, people around you try to persuade you to stay.
Correct.
Now, that is when you are giving value.
True.
You are giving something to that purpose, to that project, to that cause, to that job, to that position that is of value to that institution. And when can you give value? You can only give value when you are consistent in your conduct, when you overcome your natural tendencies to take a shortcut, to avoid work, to pass the buck, to do all these things which allow you to do X plus Y plus Z is equal to W. But when you fix your values and you decide that, no, these are my core values, what I talked about, this wrist.
Yes.
When it becomes fixed is when it gets expressed as character, which is here. This is your character. And your character is where your abilities that are of value are rooted.
True.
Your capability, your dependability, your reliability, your adaptability.
True.
Are all rooted in your character. And it is only when you have these rooted abilities that somebody is going to value you. And when they value you, they're going to ask you that question, can I do something? Why do you want to leave? Why don't you stay? So if you want to become that person, you have to work on acquiring those abilities. And just like when you go to the gym, you want to build your strength of your arm. You build the strength of your arm by lifting a weight against resistance. Similarly, you build the strength of your character by practicing your values.
Correct.
On a day-to-day basis.
On a daily basis.
On a day-to-day basis.
Correct.
And you will fail. And there will be days when you fall short. And there will be days that you will feel that I didn't live up to my values. But the very fact the day it starts hurting you, just as if you don't go to the gym, it will hurt you that why didn't I go?
True.
So it should hurt you that I failed. Today I didn't live up to my values. My value is, say, commitment. But in this particular task or this particular job, I didn't prepare properly. I let my teammate down. I made the other person do extra work. So when it starts pricking you is the day that you have started growing into that identity which you have thought for yourself.
Wow. So when we are talking about this self-actualization that they are having, okay, fine, I code that this is my value system, but if I'm not able to keep to it, that means I need to work more towards it. That realization is there. So is this the realization that helps the students become a leader in the coming years?
Yes, indeed, because a leader, again, is one who serves. Like a lot of people, again, they have a misconception that leader is a privileged position. But leader is not about rights and position and authority. A leader is about responsibility. A leader is about accountability. And this requires the person to rise above themselves.
True.
And when I say rise above themselves, it means anchor their actions to standards and values which serve a larger goal, which fulfill a larger purpose. It is not just my ease and comfort. Like in the armed forces, we have this famous Chetwood credo that, nation comes first, always and every time. This comfort and safety of your men come next. Your own ease, comfort and safety come last, always and every time. This is the Chetwood credo which we memorize when we get commissioned as officers. So, talking about leadership without talking about service is not possible.
Beautiful. True.
And I'm not talking here about political leaders. The word leader is used very loosely.
True.
Okay. It's used in Hindi mein neta. Neta means something else. So I'm not talking about that kind of leadership. That is a loose use of the word.
True.
I am talking about leadership which inspires trust, faith, and belief to attainment of a larger goal. So when you want to become that person, just as I gave an example of you want to become that employee who is asked not to leave. Similarly, you want to become that person who inspires that feeling of trust, who inspires that feeling of confidence in other people. You have to do the work to build those muscles. Somebody very famously said that character is a muscle.
Character is a muscle.
You got to work on it. It's not a given thing. It's not some mythical Satyavadi Harishchand who was born like that and lived like that and died like that. No. We are all fallible human beings.
True.
We all fail multiple times. We have all done things which we should be and would be ashamed of if other people knew. We have all.
True.
But it is the willingness to pick up the pieces and try again and do better next time.
True.
So that is where young people, when you talk of leadership, when you talk of these values and character, there is no way, because if you do not do this interrogation of what are my values, that means you are going to be solving an equation of life, like that mathematical equation. You're going to be solving an equation of life with no constants. Now, theoretically, mathematically, you can do it. In real life, you cannot do it because you will be rooted into nothing. So you've got to be rooted.
Correct. Wow. So when we talk about all these, as of now, students, and most of them, if I can say, they are into passive learning. Right? So how can they move from this passive learning mode to actively changing the future that they see for themselves, but with conviction? So they have the confidence, they have the courage, but sometimes the conviction, will I be able to, or am I lacking in something? That conviction, how can they move forward with that?
So I think the first requirement is that young people today need to, like I was just talking about, interrogating your identity. That what is the kind of person you want to be? It is perhaps the most important question you can ask. And this doesn't mean what profession do you want to join. You want to be a doctor, or you want to be a lawyer, or you want to be an engineer, or you want to be an artist or an architect or a historian or whatever. It's what kind of person. And you are not the person you think you are. You are the person you are known as. How you are experienced, the flavor of you. Like if there's a certain aroma in a garden, or there is a certain smell in a place, it is how that aroma or that smell is experienced by people who are there. So similarly, you or I are not the person who we think or want or believe that we are. It is how we are experienced by others. So when you're talking about passive learning versus active learning, active, I would say, is where you participate in the learning, where you are engaged. And you are not just looking for answers, you're not just looking for the easy way out. So even so-called passive learning, I would say, let's say you've got an exam, you've got chemistry exam, or you've got something, or geography exam. Somebody might say, why am I learning, about sedimentary rocks? Why am I learning about these things? Where will I use them in my life? That is a rather short-sighted way of looking at it. I would say, because when you go ahead in life, there will be lots of things you will be required to do, which may not be enjoyable, but nevertheless need to be done. So you are being practiced in applying yourself to tasks that you don't necessarily enjoy,
Correct.
but which got to be done in order for you to develop that muscle, to endure, to persevere, and to come through situations which you will definitely be confronted with. Active learning, become intentional. Interrogate your identity, as I told you. Look at the kind of person you are. Look at your purpose in life. Now, when people say life, they think my life is 2 years from today. My life is when I graduate. My life is when I get married. No. The only life you have is today.
Now.
Now. This is the only life you have. Your life is now.
True.
Today. So when I say your purpose in life, it is your purpose wherever you are now. If you are a student doing a course 1 week away from exams, your purpose in life is to prepare yourself for that exam. If you are an employee, if you're a train engine driver, if you're a surgeon, if you're a soldier, if you're an astronaut, whatever you are, you're a teacher, your purpose in life is to fulfill the role that you are performing. And that is active learning. When you are
So
engaged with your day, don't let life happen to you. I always tell students, I say, don't let life happen to you.
Correct.
You must be in the driving seat. And life is not that abstract. Life is today, now. Are you in the driving seat or is it happening to you? It's a question you need to ask.
Okay, so we saw what an insightful conversation that was. And we saw that confidence, courage, and conviction, these are just not the words, these are the choices we make every single day, deep rooted in taking responsibility and self awareness. And that brings us to the end of this episode. We'll see you again very soon. Thank you so much, sir, for taking out your time and being here with us today.
Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure, and thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Pleasure is all ours. So see you again very soon. Bye-bye. Take care.